Okay, so this first video, the explanation is going to be a lot longer than the rest of them will be. So just bear with me. When you're trying to solve this problem, that means you're trying to get the y right here all by itself. And in order to know what you have to do, you have to be able to answer the question, what is happening to the y? I don't know why my mouse is freaking out. You have to ask yourself, what is happening to the y? So you read this just like you would, from left to right. We don't care about this side of the equal sign right now, but this says that we're going to take the y, and the first thing we're going to do is multiply it times 7, or you can look at it as multiply it times -7, either one. And then we're going to combine it together with a 2. So the first thing is multiply by -7. And then we're going to combine it. And the word that we use for combine is add to the 2. So in order to undo what's happening to the y, we have to work backwards. The opposite, we start at the bottom of the list, and in order to work backwards, we do the opposite. So since this right here is a +2, which means that this is a +2, which means that what we need to do is give this side of the equal sign and that side of the equal sign a -2, because that's going to make that 2 go away. And since we're trying to get rid of the y, that's what we want to do. We want the 2 to go away. So I'm subtracting. Oops. So when I have a +2 and a -2, I put those together. That gives me 0. Over here, I have a +6 and a -2. You use your rules. Signs are different, so you subtract and keep the sign of the larger. So 6 minus 2, that gives me 4. Let's just ignore that. That left me 2 over here. Bring down the negative and bring down the 7y. Okay, so now I've done the opposite of this step right here. I've taken care of that. So now I have to do the opposite of that step. The opposite of multiply is divide. So we're going to divide both sides by 7, -7. Divide by -7, divide by -7. Okay. When we divide -7 by -7, that reduces down to 1. And then this one's just going to stay that ugly fraction. It's going to be a -4/7. I'm assuming that they're not changing that. I'm sorry. This is so ugly. I'm assuming they don't want you to change that to a decimal. If you do, then just use a calculator to change it to a decimal. I would tell my students just to leave it as a fraction. So that's the answer to that one. So the next one, like I said, I'm not going to talk that much to get through the next one, but I'm basically going to do the same thing. Let's see. The problem is 4, and I'm going to have to write my S's like that because if I don't, it looks like a 5. 4S plus 4 equals to 9. Okay, so what's happening to the S? We're multiplied by 4. And then the next thing we do is we add 4. So we're just going to undo that. Okay, again, remember we work backwards. So we've got to make this +4 go away. How do we make the +4 go away? We subtract 4 from both sides of the equal sign. Okay, that adds to 0. Bring down the 4S. Combine a +9 and a -4. That combines together to give me 5. Okay, so we've taken care of that part. Now we've got to undo multiplication. How do we undo multiplication? We divide. We multiplied by 4, so we're going to undo that by dividing by 4. Okay, 4's divide out, leaving me 1. So S is equal to 5/4. Again, I don't know what the directions say, so I don't know if you're supposed to leave that as a improper fraction, change it to a proper fraction, write it as a decimal, whatever. So depending on what the instructions are, I would just have my students leave it as a fraction. All right. I lost the page. Hold on. The next one is, how do I move this around? I guess I'm just gonna add a page. There we go. The next one is 3a plus 3 equals 6. Okay, so again, you can do this mentally, but what's happening to the a? The first thing that's happening is we're multiplying it by 3. So we're multiply by 3, and then we're adding 3. Undo that process. How do we undo that process? What's the opposite of adding 3? Subtract 3. So we're going to subtract 3 from both sides of the equal sign. That adds to 0, so all you have left on this side is the 3a. 6 minus 3 is 3. Okay, so we've taken care of that step. Now, how do we undo multiply by 3? Because that's all that's left. A, multiply by 3. How do we undo multiply by 3? The opposite of multiply is divide. So we divide this side of the equal sign by 3. We divide this side of the equal sign by 3. 3's divide out, leaving you a coefficient of 1, which is what you want. And 3 divided by 3 is 1. Okay, and then the next one is 6 minus 5a equals 1. So what's happening to the a first? We're multiplying by -5, and then we're combining it with that +6. That means we're adding 6. Undo it. What's the opposite of adding 6? Subtract 6 from both sides of the equal sign. That adds to 0. Bring down the -5a. Bring down the equal side and combine these two together. A +1 and a -6, the signs are different, so you subtract and keep the sign of the larger.
Someone's here.
I'm sure it's the food. Oh, okay.